Do you know how to never lose a chess game? Especially if your opponent is below 2000 ELO and you are playing the Italian game? In today's episode of Chess Game Buzz, let's master the Italian game and see some variations we can use based on different responses to your moves by your opponent. The Italian game starts with pawn to e4, followed by black's response with e5. Next, white moves their knight to f3, and black mirrors this by moving their knight to c6. Finally, white develops their bishop to c4, aiming to put pressure on black's position. Today I'm going to reveal some successful tactics and typical blunders that 95% of your opponents will make if you play right. Let's learn how to capitalize on those blunders. A common scenario arises when your opponent mirrors your moves. This is one of those blunders that I told you your opponents will make, and now let's see how to punish it. After playing the Italian opening, you and your opponent both take their other knights out and clear room for your second bishops by moving pawn to d3 and d6. Then you play bishop to g5, and your opponent plays the same bishop to g4. You see they are mimicking your moves, but remember, you have the first move advantage, because now you go knight to d5, and the pin you put on black's knight against his queen got stronger. Your opponent will probably do the same. They don't have that many options anyway. And now after they play knight to d4, you attack their knight with your pawn to c3. After they trade their knight on f3 with your knight, you now attack the bishop once again, gaining a tempo. The bishop goes back. Now you strike in the center of the board with pawn to d4. Regardless of what they do, they're lost. For example, if they trade their pawn with your pawn on d4, you still attack the bishop. And bishop cannot go on b4 because your knight will capture it. It's forced back. And now you play pawn to e5, and the knight you are attacking is already pinned against the queen. So you are winning. And now you simply win this knight. How? Let's say they play any move. You can take the knight with the knight, and after trading the knight, you can capture the pawn at f6 with the bishop, with unleash a double attack on the queen as well as on rook. That's how you turn tables in your favor. And the second idea for you is when you and your opponent have taken both of your knights and a bishop out just like the previous game, you play bishop g5, putting the pin. The usual reaction of your opponent is playing pawn h6, trying to get rid of the bishop, and you trade your bishop with the knight on f6, and then you attack the queen on f6 as well as the pawn on c7 by moving your knight to d5. If your opponent is smart, he'll pull the queen back to avoid a fork. Then you play pawn to c3, just like any normal game. And here at this position, 95% of people playing the black will make a blunder. Let's see how to capitalize on it. It is the move bishop to e6, attacking the knight. Now let's see how you win here. But first, let me tell you, why do they even play bishop to e6? Actually, they want to get rid of your knight on d5. And little do they know, it's actually a pretty big blunder. Now, you strike in the middle of the board with the move, pawn to d4. How is this going to benefit us? Let's understand this. For example, black trades pawn on d4. Now, you are still attacking the bishop. And for example, if bishop moves back to b6, that's exactly what we want. We just trade off the knight on d5 with the bishop and can advance the pawn on d4 to d5, unleashing a double attack. As simple as that. In the previous two plans we discussed, white relied on having their bishop to g5, putting pressure here. You may wonder, what if black plays pawn to h6 to stop you from going bishop g5? In that case, you've got the another winning plan, which we're going to cover right now. So they play h6, you play pawn h3, pretending like you also mimic their moves, and you are also trying to prevent this potential knight against queen pin the future. But in reality, we are going to do something else. As soon as they castle, you play pawn to g4. It's a very powerful attacking plan. After whatever they play, you actually want to push forward pawn on g5, open up their king after they take your pawn, and after they take your pawn, you bring your bishop to capture their pawn on g5. so your bishop is still pinning the knight against the queen, plus their king is now open. Also now, on top of that, you also manage to open up the G file for your rook, so you can put it on G1. 90% of the times, black goes knight to D4. It's another common blunder of black, and this is one of those blunders that I told you your opponent will make, and now let's see how to capitalize on it, because when they play this move, they think their knight is on a good square. But in reality, it does nothing, because your knight on F3 is already defended by queen. So the knight on D4 move doesn't really do anything, and it doesn't prevent you from executing your plan. So after their knight to D4, you can go knight to D5. And now it creates a threat because now you attack this knight twice. So now, they play anything, let's say bishop B6 or anything at all. Your bishop captures knight on F6, and since the bishop is defended, they cannot recapture with the queen, or else the queen will be lost. So pawn takes the bishop, creating a very good move option, rook to G1 giving check to the king. Now all you need is to bring our queen on H5. Let's say we trade the knight on F3 with black's knight, and after bishop takes it, we ends up with queen to H5 checkmate. This is how easily you can outmaneuver most of your opponents and always win at it. To keep getting amazing chess videos and chess lessons, like and share this video and subscribe to Chess Game Buzz now. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching.